We have Mr. Cornelius here, who's actually my eighth, right?
8th grade science.
Yes, they all blend together with me. I was about to say 7th grade, honestly.
8th grade science.
Yes, and now he teaches 7th grade though. That might have got
7th grade ELA.
ELA.
Yeah, because you remember when you were my student, I was a split, and ever since I had a split except for 1 year, and I had ELA and science. Last year I had science and social studies. Oh. So this year I'm back ELA by itself, 7th grade.
Ooh. So you're with Miss Kirk?
No, Miss Kirk still is 8th grade. Oh.
You're English with Miss Kirk.
Yes, I'm in the same department, but I get to see Miss Kirk.
We get to see Miss Kirk too.
She is wonderful.
She was actually the inspiration for this project.
Really?
Our freshman year. We were thinking about her, because she said she was going to come back in our 10th grade year to teach us because she wanted to stay with our group. She didn't. We're going to have a talk with her about that when she gets here. But yeah, we were thinking about the impact, and we were thinking about her impact on us. So yeah, let's get right into it. What is your favorite color?
Well, in terms of, I've never had to say I have a set favorite color. I just look at the colors in my wardrobe, in my closet. Oh. And I just look at the shirts that I have the most. So it says black, royal blue, green, gray. I wear a lot of gray, a lot of black. I'm not emo, but
we'll see.
A lot of green. So those are my favorite colors.
Very regal colors.
Yeah, I'm seeing a trend.
All right.
What was the inspiration for you teaching, and did you always want to do it, or was there something that pushed you to teach?
I can say honestly, no. I did not always want to become a teacher.
What?
I didn't. When I was in college, my first major, I was computer science for information systems. I thought I wanted to be a computer scientist, but that didn't pan out, and I changed my major after my freshman year in college. Oh. And I changed to English. And the reason why I changed to English was my English teacher, the English teacher that taught me 7th, 9th, and 10th grade, Mrs. Yolanda Martin. And she's known me all my life. And I've been to various, family events with her and her family. She knows my mother and my parents. And so she was a very big influence on me becoming a teacher, as with other teachers that I had in elementary, middle school, high school, and college. Mm-hmm. And in my notes, I did write where I went to a career fair my senior year in college, and there were 2 recruiters from the school district in the great state of Wisconsin.
Oh,
and
that's cheese.
And he hollered and he yelled at me. And he was like, "Hey, come over to this table. I know you want to be a teacher. I know you didn't." And I was like, "No, I don't want to be a teacher. Come over here. I know you want to teach." Because for one, I did not want to move to Wisconsin because I had been in the South all my life. And I was an English major with hopes of being a journalist. I wanted to be a journalist. So I didn't think about teaching. But after I graduated and had to go home and live with my parents with a college degree, I didn't have a job. I went and became a teacher assistant in an elementary school. And while I was a teacher assistant, I went back to school and got my teacher courses. I did the alternate route and became a teacher that way.
That guy was right. You got it. You got to find him one day.
Yeah,
if you're watching this, email us. We'll get you. We'll get that. You're right.
Yeah, that guy's like an oracle.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. How have students changed since the COVID-19 pandemic?
I mean, you get to answer this.
I get to answer this. I think students they don't see the need to come to school more than before the pandemic. They feel like, okay, I went through these years of being virtual. I didn't have to turn my camera on. I didn't have to show up. I didn't have to sign in. And it's like you have students that are on several attendance plans. They might show up 4 days and be absent 1 day. They might show up 3 days and be absent 2 days. They might show up 2 days and be absent 3 days. They might not show up at all. It comes sporadically. So I think attendance has really suffered since the pandemic. I also think that students are apathetic when it comes to completing assignments because they didn't necessarily have to, turn in assignments while they were doing virtual learning. Sometimes they would submit assignments and nothing would be attached to the document, or they attach what you sent them and it's still blank. So I think attendance and apathy in completing assignments were really heightened by the COVID-19 pandemic.
This feels like laziness a lot of the time. Just that was brought up by the pandemic, like that they had the opportunity to be lazy. I know at least for after that year, we had gone so far in 7th grade that they literally said, you don't have to do any work. We are so far ahead that you really don't. And I never did, but I also feel like that was the lowest point because I felt like I couldn't do anything. I was just sitting there.
Yeah.
Just looking at your 4 walls and just saying, like, I wish I was in school now.
Yeah, and I wonder why kids prefer sitting in their rooms because it was so lonely.
Yeah.
Like, not even to go, like, to the Zoom things, because nobody would be there. It would just be you and the teacher, and that'd be awkward.
Yeah.
But even just, like, the 4 walls, you don't want to go out and make friends at all. That's so
Well, that's hard, because sometimes making friends are hard, because everybody's afraid of a rejection. Nobody wants to be like, hey, I want to be your friend. Get away from me. I don't want to be a friend.
Yeah. I mean, middle school.
And you're already awkward in middle school. You're changing. You're growing taller. Your feet's getting big. Some people smell bad. Your hair's not straight. You got acne. It's like middle school is just the worst. It's like I'm in this period between elementary school and high school, and it's like I'm trying to figure myself out, and I can't.
I'm a firm believer that middle school is the lowest. Should be the lowest point in your life. Because really,
that makes you a good person.
You gotta go through it in middle school. All those people who are like popular in middle school, I don't trust them.
Why do you say that?
Because I still see them to this day, and they still think they're popular, like quote unquote think they're popular. There's no popularity in high school. If you are a middle school listening to this, listen to me. There's no popularity. There is, oh, I know that person, and oh, I don't know that person.
So you feel like they peaked in middle school, and they can't come out of there being.
Because they think they're going to peak in high school. But there's no peak. I mean, there is peaking in high school.
Yeah.
But that's about the connections that you make, either good or bad, on whether people know your name or not. And that's really it. But, like, if you don't go through it in middle school, if you don't go through that gotcha phase, if you don't go through that art phase, that emo phase, they call it emo, it's not. If you don't go through that, I feel like you're weird. You're the weird one, especially the popular people who still think they're popular, but they're just horrible people.
Could you say because the size of your school, because you have about, 2,400, 2,500 people in one school?
700 in our class alone.
And 700 in the senior class?
Yeah.
It's like, who has time to really, for 2,000 other people to know you? 2,500 other people to know you. You're just one of 2,600, 2,500.
That's kind of part of it also, like, specifically with our high school. It's hard for there to be, like, really, like, a social system when, like, I don't know half of these people. There's like, if like your freshman year, like you take an art elective and somebody else takes like a science cluster, you might not see them for all 4 years because you just don't have the same classes and the way they have to schedule you because of what you choose. So like there's some people I've just literally never seen.
Somebody showed me a picture one day of this dude who apparently like a lot of girls find him cute and he's like the basic hallway crush. She showed me a picture of him. I said, who is that? Who is that? She's like, you don't know him? I'm like, no.
He has a different lunch. He goes on a different hallway. He's not over here. So don't blame me.
I'm with the fine arts people. I don't see these people. They think I'm weird. All right. Moving on outside of that. This is going back to what you said before we went off. Do you personally believe that that's the reason why so many students they just don't care? Do you think there's a bigger reason other than COVID or not?
I think there's other reasons other than COVID. I think it's the parental relationship. Because a lot of times, you have younger parents and you also have parents who are working multiple jobs and multiple hours to provide, a roof over their heads and their wants and needs. So sometimes, they're stressed out and they're sacrificing things for themselves to give their children other things. So they don't need one, more responsibility. It's like, I got to go to work. I got to work 55, 65, 70 hours a week to have rent and have food and you have clothing and I can take you on a vacation and we can go this place and that place. It's like they really don't sit down and have dinner anymore.
Yeah.
Or they might be eating in different rooms. Parent might be in the den, parent might be in the kitchen, kid in the bedroom, kid in the family room. It's like they don't spend time. Or the parent is off at work while the kid is waking up at school. So, like for me, I was a latchkey kid. Both my parents worked. And but my parents still, talk to me, because it was amazing. So my parents, my mom, my dad, and I had to be up at the same time.
Oh.
Going to work, and when my parents were leaving work, I had to leave for school, and I rode the bus, so I could not miss the bus.
Yeah.
Because by the time my bus came, if I missed the bus, my parents were at work, so I was just like, oh my god, I can't miss that bus. So I just I was very responsible at a young age.
I think the responsibility was good to learn, but also it's so sad how many parents, even parents that don't work a job, they just kind of don't care about their kids. I feel like some people, and this is a very small group, and it's a very small group of especially the kids who act out in school, their parents don't care just to not care. It's sad how they act. They probably do want their kid, and they probably do love their kid, but they act like sometimes they don't care.
Well, yeah. I think...
And the kid is acting out because they're trying to get their parents' attention. That's why they're acting out. They're like, I'm doing all this bad stuff wrong. Please take a minute to leave everything that you got to do, or your so-called responsibilities, and listen to me. I need somebody to talk to. It's they probably need to bring in anybody that's mental health trained. They just need someone to know that you're my parent, you're my mom, you're my dad. I love you, and I'm concerned about you.
Yeah.
And I think some parents, like, you say, like, just not care, not to care. I think some parents just generally don't realize that, like, the needs that their child has, like the emotional needs that their child has, and it's like, it's easy, especially if you gotta work, like, to just be like, oh, well, they're like going to school every day, so they're probably fine. But then you just find out that, like, they just feel really alone, and so that's causing them to, like, do stuff and whatever.
We're gonna sign a petition to bring back eating at the dinner table.
Sign a petition. There's a group of people that wants to do that.
It needs to be brought back. I remember my mom never sat with me at the table.
Really?
She did for a little while, but then I would literally... She has her own, like, little spot that she stands at, and she eats, and I would eat at the table alone.
Y'all would be in the same room?
It would sometimes. We never ate at the same time. She would always eat later than me, so I'd be in my room. It's a little sad. I know from personal experience what it is to feel like to not eat at the dinner table, but it's like it just builds a wall with the parents, and it's so bad for the kid, and it just affects every other aspect of their life.
Yeah,
that's true.
It's just like it's not even just eating dinner together, which, like, eating is an easy way of connection because like breaking bread together, like, that's trust. But, like, also the dinner table is just a way for, like, conversations to come up and to get, like, feelings out. Like, if you're busy your whole day, like, you get out of practice at 5, mom gets home at 6, y'all eat dinner together. Then you can, like, actually talk about things and then do whatever else you have to do for the rest of the day. So I don't think it's even just, like, eating dinner together. It's just finding time to just connect.
Yes.
Just designated family time.
Any time to connect.
Yeah.
Connections are important, guys.
Yes, they are.
Riveting discovery.
Yes.
No one's ever said it before.
What do you think needs to be common context for the day-to-day person when interacting with teachers?
Teachers is not a monolith. All teachers are not the same.
Yeah.
Teachers are, there was an old saying where the Army had a campaign that said, we do more things before most people do in a day. And I think teachers are like, the soldiers in the Army. We do a lot of things before the school day starts and after the school day ends. And it's like, what you see on TV or movies of teachers, they're sitting back, they're drinking a cup of coffee, they're sitting at their desk, and they're just taking a red pen and just marking all over the student's paper. That's not it. Because we play so many roles. As we were the previous question about relationship to parents, we have to be parent.
Yeah.
We have to be a tutor. We have to be a social worker. We have to be a nurse. Sometimes a bank. Sometimes a mediator. Sometimes, we have to play different roles every day.
Yeah. And
sometimes you have to be a multitasker. Teaching is about multitasking because you're in charge of 25, 30, 35 young minds, and you have to make sure that they are learning and that they are safe. That nothing is going to go down in your room. Nothing's going to happen to them emotionally, spiritually, mentally, or physically. So you have to make sure that they are safe, and you have to play those other roles.
Especially and sadly in this day and age, it's so sad. It's so sad how much teachers have to take on.
Yeah, But I like that you said you have to be a parent too, because there are some kids, even if like their parents don't work all the time, there are some kids you just see them more hours a week than they see their parents.
Right.
So like you're like one of the, whether like some teachers realize it or not, you're like the primary adult in their life at that time, and like if they respect you, then that's especially true. So like you have to be very careful about what you do, and that's hard, and it takes a lot emotionally.
It does.
For that to be your job, to be like making sure all like however 100 many kids I see a day are all getting their needs met. So
especially because
it's a job that you cannot turn off.
Yeah.
You may think you can turn it off at the end of the school day or in the weekend or a break. That is not possible. You are a teacher everywhere. If you go to the store, you see a kid and they're acting out, you probably just want to say to yourself, but it's like, should I intervene? Should I step in? No.
Yeah.
Did I turn it off?
I don't know.
Oh, did I?
Yes.
I did. I'm sorry. But it's a job. Yes,
sorry, guys,
technology. So it's a job that you can't turn off. You can't.
Can't turn off like you turn off the microphone.
I'm sorry, I did that.
No.
And everybody expects you to be on, quote unquote, on at that moment. And we do have bad days and bad situations, and we can't be on all the time. But you have to be a good actor or a good actress and say that everything is fine. I'm fine. Everything is fine. We're all fine.
Yeah.
And inside, it's not.
Especially with how many kids daily. Oof. Hey,
I got an idea. They should maybe pay these guys more.
Hey, it's almost like somebody just said that.
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, we'll find out later, I guess.
We'll find out later after this question, maybe.
Yeah. All right. Where's the line for analog and digital teaching for you, and what are the drawbacks and advantages of each?
The line between analog and digital teaching, I said in my notes that digital teaching should not be your main form of instruction.
Yes.
You have to go back to the old school. But you have to make sure you give students feedback and make sure that you can tell if the students are grasping a concept or not grasping a concept. But you just can't not sit at your desk. It's like, go to quizzes or go to Nearpod or go do this, do that. Answer these questions and turn it in. You have to walk around the room. It's called proximity. In teacher school, they tell us that you have to walk around and to make sure that students are on task and are learning. So you have to give that feedback. Sometimes technology doesn't work when you want it to work.
Calling out Murphy's right now.
Murphy's Law. What can go wrong will.
I do have a question since you are an English teacher full time. You also have a bug on your head.
I have a bug on my head?
Yeah. Sorry.
Another
Is it gone?
Yes.
Okay.
I didn't even notice.
Sorry. We'll cut that
out. It was a stinging, so I feel good.
I thought it was a mosquito.
Okay.
To be like, ooh. Anyways, but
as long as it's not as a wasp.
Because you are an English teacher full time now.
Uh-huh.
How do you feel about ChatGPT or AI writing essays?
I don't like it.
Yeah.
I do not like it because it gives people an advantage that they do not normally have. Mm-hmm. And what are those people going to do when they do not have ChatGPT at their advantage?
Suffer.
They will suffer. They will quickly be known as a fraud.
Okay, on the flip side of that, how do you feel about Turnitin or other websites like that using AI to grade essays?
No. Because sometimes the AI can flag things that are not plagiarism. Mm-hmm. And sometimes they do flag things that are not plagiarism, and sometimes they do not flag things that are stealing from someone else. Yeah. So a lot of times it overlooks because the algorithm is not like a human being that has gone to school and been trained and done that work over and over again on a repetitive, basis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe we're going too far with AI, guys. Yeah. Any tech bros going out there want to argue with me? Go ahead.
Another riveting thought.
I hate AI so much.
Yeah, we're just inventing the wheel with this podcast. We're doing it. Oh, please. How do you feel about students that struggle with connecting with your style of teaching, and how do you overcome it?
I kind of take it personally because I feel like, why isn't he or she getting it? Mm-hmm. And sometimes, you can prepare all this good lesson, and if kids don't get it, it's like you wasted your time preparing these lesson plans, preparing this. So I try to find ways to make students learn or help students learn. If it's a video, if it's a YouTube clip, if it's a song, if it's me acting crazy, if it's me getting on top of a desk, things that I have done in my teaching, like for instance, help have students understand prepositions, and taking a normal desk and me getting in a desk, getting under a desk, getting beside a desk, getting, to teach prepositions. Mr. Cornelius is in the desk and I have stood in a desk.
Oh my God.
Man, I hope they paid attention to that.
So hopefully that they learn that, prepositions, relate one noun to another noun. So you got Mr. Cornelius got a desk. Is he in it? Is he under it? Is he beside it? Is he next to it? Sometimes you got to be a renegade.
We're going to have a quiz after this. I hope everybody wrote that down.
Yeah,
Prepositions. I'm going to make sure that you guys know English.
Yeah. Oh. What is a piece of media that influenced your life at any point?
In terms of teaching, there's this TED Talk, and I think Gabby remembers it. I think I showed it to you.
You did?
I think it was Every Kid Deserves a Champion. Is by Rita Pearson. It's a TED Talk.
You might have. And I might have internalized it, but I don't remember watching it.
It was a lady that was no longer living. Her name was Dr. Rita Pearson, and she was a child of a teacher. And she said that every kid deserves a champion, and it's about interpersonal relationships. It's still back. The bug is back. Well, I shaved my head this morning. I'm bald, and it must be fragrant or something. My shaving cream. Well, going back to the story with Dr. Pearson, she said that every aspect of learning is about relationships. You cannot teach. She said this line in there: kids do not learn from people they do not like.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that is the truth. If they don't like you, they're not going to listen to you. They're not going to pay attention to you. They're not going to be vulnerable with you. They're not going to, teachers know when students are not themselves because they've been with them every day. They can notice any identifiable change with their student. The student is lively and upbeat and bubbly, and the next day the student has his or her head down. Something's changed. Teachers notice that immediately because they have fostered that interpersonal relationship.
Yeah. I feel like I probably did internalize it. I don't remember it. I don't remember a lot of stuff from middle school, so it's not really you. But just the fact of this whole podcast is to get people to like their teachers. It's specifically for the people, like for your students, if your students were to watch it. It's for them to get to know you.
Yeah.
And if there's that one kid, I'm sure all your students love you. If they don't, they can come to talk to me.
And don't threaten them.
Yeah, we'll set them straight.
It's
don't
not
worry about
that.
it.
It's a promise.
But like that one kid that maybe didn't like you, but then his mom, for 10 extra points, he was forced to watch it or forced to listen to it because we forgot the camera. Anyways, but he listens to it and he actually goes, "Wow, I didn't know this about him. I didn't know that he felt like this. I didn't know that he actually cared about his students," or something like that. I don't know, something like that. But
that happened this past summer after my last year teaching 8th grade. I had a student that was in my homeroom, and I can't probably call his name or anything. He's this year.
Oh,
and he kept saying to me, "I have a gift for you, Mr. Cornelius. I have a gift for you." And I thought this kid didn't like me because I really did not go back and forth with this kid, but some days this kid was kind of cynical and kind of snarky and kind of everything. This kid had a Funko Pop made of me.
Oh.
And I have that displayed in my house. Yes, I have a Funko Pop. He had one made of me, and then his mother was there. She gave me an envelope with a card, and the card had a $100 Amazon gift card in it. It's like the Funko Pop was enough.
Yeah.
But then to get this gift card, it's like, whoa, did I make that much of a difference? I thought I was not making that much of a difference with this kid.
You probably did. I love it when that happens. I love those stories so much of like the kid who was like, "Man, I hate school," or something like that, and then they meet a teacher and they're like, "You know what?
Yeah,
I was being kind of Debbie Downer, guys. It's kind of my fault, guys." But yeah, I love it when that happens. But if you could change one thing about the school system, what would you change?
Oh, that's a lot. I know in my notes, my originals, I said make school 4 days a week, and Mondays are hard. But I know that you're speaking of another teacher about compensation, and I know pays well, but a lot of times, a lot of school districts, they top out at their teachers at year 20.
Are you serious?
And they expect teachers in Tennessee to teach 30 years until for retirement, and so they're going to make the same salary their last 10 years of teaching.
You
would no raise.
Yeah, you wouldn't expect that.
You
in any
wouldn't
other
expect
career.
no other profession. You wouldn't expect it. At year 20, it's called a step increases, and you get a increase in salary every year until you get to year 20, and then from years 20 to 30, you make the same salary.
What, like,
every year?
What's going through their heads?
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, what if you just ask, like, I don't know anybody. You don't have to study business, but if you're like, okay, so we're trying to incentivize people to stay for a long time. We want people to obviously keep their jobs here. So we're gonna say if you are, you stay with us for 20 years, you're loyal. We're gonna take away things from you because that's basically what it is. Because obviously inflation, like
cost of living, inflation.
If you don't get a raise, you're making less money. Like that's what that is.
Right.
So that's not. It's like the opposite of incentive. Why would that make people want to stay?
I feel like that's probably forcing them out. That's probably why so many teachers leave. They're like, year 20. They're like, I can't deal with you guys anymore for this month. I can't.
Yeah, I was gonna say. You're making less money.
And one more thing, standardized testing. Oh, I think standardized testing should be, phased out.
Yes, it's so bad, but it's all because I'm about to get mad. It's all because of No Child Left Behind.
That was my first year teaching. My first year teaching, No Child Left Behind came into effect.
You've been through.
And I had administrators, principals were telling people, if it's not math or language arts, don't teach it.
What?
And that's why you see students have like no foundation in social studies and science.
Yeah, like
because it's not a priority.
So sad. Oh, that's probably why a lot of people.
Have you noticed that like at standardized testing, it's just math and English now? Like, and yeah, I mean it's what they're trying to get.
Like ACT just recently made science optional.
Yes, which I mean, science. I hate science. Well, I'm going into science, but I hated the science ACT. But I don't, that doesn't mean get rid of it. That does just because a lot of students are struggling. Also, the science ACT isn't even about science. It's about finding a way to solve it. That's why they give you. If you're listening to this and you hate science ACT, it's trying to get your problem-solving skills.
Yeah.
Hey guys.
Sometimes you don't have to read the passage. I was an ACT tutor, so sometimes you don't have to read the passage. I've taught ACT prep. You don't have to read the passage if you know how to read charts, graphs, tables. You don't have to necessarily read that long passage because you only got 35 minutes to do that, to do 40 questions in 7 passages and all those charts, tables, and graphs.
Just don't start picking B. That's the only advice.
Don't Christmas tree it. Don't Christmas tree it, and don't pick C. And please answer every question. You might be leaving points on the table. I'm looking at my script back when I taught ACT prep.
Yeah,
so.
But it's so sad. Some of the things the school system is doing.
I think students need longer lunch periods.
Yes.
And I think students need recess.
We have 20 minutes for lunch.
Yeah, like
y'all got five fewer minutes than we do.
Yeah, and like
20 minutes.
And
the line is like legit takes like 15 minutes.
There was one day I literally got caught up maybe 2 minutes late walking. Because of the crowd, I had 5 minutes to eat my entire lunch.
Yeah, because
you just wolfed it down to get to your next class.
Yeah, they're trying to feed so you got 2,500 kids in school. You're trying to feed them in 4 lunch sections that are 20 minutes each. That's a lot of kids in one cafeteria, and most of which are not bringing lunch from home because that's just like like if you just look at like the economy and at different points, usually in periods of inflation, less kids are like bringing lunch from home and stuff.
Because it costs more to buy the stuff to make lunch.
So much
and just the time because like a lot of people working. So
it costs a lot at the high school to eat lunch.
It costs $5 a day if you get breakfast and lunch.
Yep.
$5 a day?
Yeah. $5 a day.
Oh, one time it was like $10, and all I got 2 slices of pizza, no bev, no side, no nothing.
Just
$10 for 2 slices.
Just school pizza, not even Domino's, Marco's, Jets.
Pizza, 2 slices.
Because they only charge you for the entrees.
2 medium-sized pizzas.
Yes.
For that.
They charge you for the entrees. The entrees you were paying like $2.35 for the entree, and then like a vegetable or fruit. And then if you add, I one time got like I got more fries. I got like a sandwich, and then they come with fries, so that counts. And then I got extra fries because they were like sweet potato fries. Yeah, not sweet potato, but they had like seasoning. It was so good. But they charged me an extra for that. That was $1.50
to fries
to get 8 extra. They were like
8 extra fries?
they were like,
So they're like steak
potato
fries.
wedges.
Yeah,
Yeah,
potato
like,
wedges.
Okay.
they were like potato wedges. So it was 8 extra fries, $1.50. And then if you get another entree, like if I would have gotten 2 sandwiches, like no fries, that would have been $2.35 both each. So add that. That's like over $5. $5?
Yeah.
That
And
would be
then
like
when you're
$5.
eating lunch every day, or breakfast and lunch every day, it's $25 a week. You know,
Yes. It's so bad.
$25 a week adds up.
It's like
you might need to go to Aldi and get you some bread, and get you some lunch meat, and some
might as well at that
chips.
point start
some
losing
soda.
sleep over making yourself some
Yeah.
food.
Sorry if
But
I'm giving Aldi a plug. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Shout out to Aldi. I love Aldi.
Shout out
actually.
Aldi sponsor
Aldi,
us.
if you sponsor us, please. I know y'all-
I shop there all the time, guys.
Yeah,
Please.
I love Aldi.
Next question.
Oh, if you could recommend a piece of media to young minds like your students, what would it be? It might be the same answer, but
It might be the same answer because I thought about John Lewis,
Yeah.
Get in the Way, and it was a documentary about the late congressman from Georgia, John Lewis, and who came from humble beginnings in Alabama.
Yeah.
And he went to Fisk University and became part of the civil rights movement. And then, trailblazed, worked with Dr. Martin Luther King and the Freedom Riders. And with that, and he had a quote that says, get into trouble, good trouble. And sometimes you have to, why I recommend that to students, sometimes you have to leave home to do what you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's my personal things. I left to go to college, and I was 5 hours away from my parents.
Wow.
But it really grew me up to be away. Because if I would have stayed home and I had a full ride to where I grew up, and I had a full ride in a place in the honors college, and I turned it down to go 5 hours away. Mm-hmm. And I'm glad that was one of the best decisions that I made in my life, because it really had me to learn how to stand on my own without calling my parents or relying on my parents or relying on their decisions or their advice for me. Mm-hmm. So I think sometimes you have to leave home. Sometimes you have to stick your neck out and not be afraid of saying the wrong thing or doing the wrong thing. Because I know I've said some things and done some things that have possibly would have gotten me fired. But there was some admin and some VPs, some APs, some principals that had grace and saw that I was really needed in the school building because of how they saw my how I was interacting and instructing and basically in the kids' lives. So I think that documentary saying something, get into trouble, good trouble. Don't just get in trouble just for the heck of it or to make a name for yourself. Sometimes you have to, go against the grain and do some things that might be scary to get farther in life where you want to go.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of kids need to hear that.
Yeah, because sometimes you have to get in good trouble. Like, that's how change happens.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like there's a lot of, maybe some people, not us, need to, it can't be us. I don't know. We're already halfway talking to the administrators because of this. Because they didn't want us to say something wrong and have it be their teachers. Or we had to, get these questions,
pre-approved.
Mm-hmm.
So he had to pre-approve. Did he put a red line through any questions that?
No.
Actually, you were the lucky ones?
We had already thought about this. We knew it was going to be censored to a point. Mm-hmm. We didn't want to get new teachers in trouble, but we wanted to hear what they say. So he was fine with all the questions. The thing he put the red line through was having it at the school.
Okay.
And that was just because I don't know what it is about administration. They only wanted a select group of senior projects done at the school. But if we were at the school, we could have been inside. Hey guys, if you're listening, we're outside right now at a park. It's raining.
But we're covered by an awning.
Yeah.
We got food. We got a hoodie on.
We're having so much fun.
The birds are chirping. The squirrels are moving.
Yeah.
It's actually quite empty, and I'm so happy about that.
Yeah,
yes, we don't have any muggers. Michael Myers is not in the background.
The killer, when he was.
So so we're good.
But that's the reason we had to move it to a park. If it wasn't that, we would be in the school inside with the professional camera. Maybe even we could have done service hours for some people to help us, so we wouldn't have had mic trouble.
Operate the camera and the mics, help us out with that.
But because of administration, be I don't want you to do that. We don't get that. So we're doing the best with what we have. This was originally going to be hot wings almost, by the way.
We were trying to get
you would have eaten the. It wouldn't have been if you didn't want to eat wings. We would have gotten you
all drums,
peppers.
no flats, all drums.
That's what I'm saying.
No flats, no ranch, no blue cheese, just all drums.
If
No
we had the
sauce?
money,
No sauce.
Lemon pepper. I look maybe a few wet, you know.
we were gonna ask Don Don's Wings to actually sponsor us.
Yeah.
Okay.
Are you a
Like,
Don
fully-
Don's fan?
I think I would never had.
You need to
Have I
go.
had Don Don's?
The one
like
down.
them.
Oh
Yeah, the
my
one on-
goodness,
yeah.
it's
I've
so
been to the Wing
good.
Guru and the one across the street from. Is it JD's Wings?
I think
I
it
think
is.
it's JD's Wings.
Okay, I've been to JD's Wings and normally Wingstop, but I don't think I've been to Don Don's.
You need to go.
Don
It's
Don's
like
good.
$20 for 20 boneless, and they're
Okay.
like this big. They are so good, and they're actually so filling.
Mm.
Anyways,
Yeah.
And you don't have,
Don
and you don't have
Don's
to get
plug.
fries, and you don't have to eat the carrots and the celery.
they have
Yeah,
seasoned
shout out
fries.
to Don
It's-
Don's.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Shout
I
out
tear it
Don
up.
Don's. We're
I
keeping
tear it
that
up every time. Shout out to Crubbies too, if they want to.
in.
That's a little different though.
We'll email
Yeah.
it in the studio.
Yeah, we'll see.
But yeah, if you could create your own course, what would you have the students do?
I thought about the course, earlier we talked about did I always want to become a teacher? And I said I think I would create a course for senior students.
Oh.
And it would be a 9-week course to research what they want to do. And so they would basically research the job, research the educational requirements, research the expectations of the job, and then they would have to call different people around in the local area to coordinate a shadow period where they would shadow the person who's in that job for a week.
Mhm.
And then after that course, they would basically know, do I really want to still pursue this career? Is this what I want to do, or did I have a misconception about this career, or did I not have all my facts? Because I think if I would have had that in my own experience, I think I wouldn't have had to change my major in college. I still graduated in 4 years, but because I had a hard work ethic, and my parents made sure that, like, if you didn't have a B, you're coming home. I had a brand new car, and they said, if you didn't get less than a B, we're taking the car. So, basically that was the incentive for keeping that B average and graduating in 4 years. But it was a lot of work.
I think that would be a good idea. Especially it saved money because college is expensive nowadays.
Yeah, I know, and that's the thing. Like people will say all the time, like, "Oh, just like first 2 years about figuring out, you should go just to go." Because I do believe that college is a good like halfway point for young adults. Like even if you don't really know what you want to do there, I think it's safe. It's like halfway to independence.
Yeah,
it's like a good like starting ground.
But how do you feel about a gap year? A lot of students are now taking a lot with gap years.
I feel like sometimes I feel like gap years make people lose motivation.
Yeah, that's the worry with the gap year. I
Yeah.
think is this worrying.
Some people, if you're real rich, you're like, I'm going to Italy my gap year to go do da 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 and go have fun and be an adult. But once you have that and then you come home and you realize you don't have anything going on, your friends are in college, you're behind them, you don't know what you're going to do now that you've experienced other things. It's like, it doesn't muddle your mind. I do think it's good for branching out and opening opportunities to be more sure of yourself. But I feel like a lot of people feel pushed back by a gap year. But I also think that's why people don't take them, that some people might need them.
I don't know.
It's so complex.
Yeah. I don't know. The only thing like with the whole figuring it out path is like it's expensive to figure it out. Like
Right.
that's your first like major financial decision. So if I'm just like, oh, I don't know what I want to do, and then I'm like 3 years in somewhere and I'm like, oh well, I want to do this really bad.
Right.
And this school has nothing for me here. So I'm gonna have to transfer to another school, figure out the financials of that, and it's like you just spent 3 years worth of money
just
figuring it
wasting
out.
time
Yeah.
and doing nothing and taking a lot of courses
Yeah.
that that didn't mean anything, meaningful courses. Like, did I just waste my money? Did I waste my trust fund? Did I waste my scholarship fund?
Yeah.
Am I going to student loan debt? You don't want to go, student loan debt.
Mm-mm-mm.
We
No.
We should
We are not a
abolish the
fan.
student loan debt, actually, guys. Hey,
Hey,
call us whatever you
another
want.
great idea.
Get rid of the student loan.
We're gonna start like who's the guy who like stapled his thing to like the door of the church? Martin Luther.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
like
the
that.
95 Theses.
Yeah, we're
just
gonna
like
do that with this podcast.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna. Where are we gonna
Twitter
staple
Twitter. Abolish student loan debt. Pay teachers.
it? Pay teachers.
Pay
That's
teachers.
like 4 of them.
Yeah, 4 of them. Pay teachers.
and give them a raise every year, not just stop at year 20.
Yeah.
No, because that fixed income after 20 years, that would actually have me. I would.
Any other job,
No.
you would be like, no. But as a
No.
teacher, you're so committed. Like at year 20, like I imagine it'd be hard to leave, even though it's like
Especially with
not
like
good for you.
if that's what you want to do, and like if
Mhm.
that's what you feel your purpose is to like teach,
Yeah.
to have that be like to have to leave your kids and have to like leave your purpose for
Mhm.
that just because you know you can't get paid enough. How many kids would like fight for you just to have that? I would fight for some of my teachers
Like
if
the
I
Disney movies were like,
Yes!
we have to raise money to keep the lemonade stand alive.
like exactly like
Yeah.
that. I would
Yeah.
literally like go to the board, be like, what's going on with this, guys? Let's
Yeah.
have
Hey guys.
sit down, let's have a chat, because this
Yeah.
is actually that's so crazy.
Well, you gotta get the wider community to buy in because our salaries come from taxes.
Yeah.
So you got to make sure that the community are going to pay their fair share in taxes.
I think that's I feel like going into that's such a selfish thing that people don't realize affects them.
Mhm.
Because
Yeah.
they're like, I don't want to pay an extra $40 in tax. I don't know how much it would be. It'd probably be a lot more in taxes, but I don't want to pay extra in taxes. Those tax dollars are not going. If you're in a good community,
Right.
sometimes tax dollars does go bad and you don't want to pay that much. But if you're in a good community, those tax dollars are going to educate your children, to feed people that need to be fed, to go to the hungry.
Police, fire, street
Yes,
lights.
to keep
Yes.
yourself protected. Fix
Hospitals.
that pothole that broke your car that
Mhm.
now put you in more debt. It's like taxes go into so much stuff, and I probably, if they were raising my taxes, I'd probably complain about it for a little while. But if I really think about it, going into educating, if I had a kid, getting higher education, make it easier for them, make it better for the teachers that teach them day in, day out, that would feel worth it for me
Yeah.
because it's so important.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. I don't know. I think at the end of the day, I'd be able to sleep at night paying a little extra money if, like, the school was able to offer APs and offer, like, dual enrollment
Arts.
opportunities, arts.
There
Yes.
was a kid
Expansion
at
arts.
UT Martin who, I don't know if he was in like a more rural or if it was like more industrialized, but there was a kid at UT Martin who was touring with me. He got 5 AP classes where he didn't have to pay a cent. They don't pay nothing for those AP classes or dual enrollment in wherever they were.
It's like subsidized?
Yes.
Yes, because I taught before I taught, and they do have a UT Martin Center in Fayette County, and we do have dual enrollment, and a lot of kids from that area go to UT Martin.
It wasn't, I don't think it was Fayette. I think it was somewhere else.
Yeah.
But they literally, it was somewhere else out in like rural Tennessee.
Mhm.
But they literally didn't pay. The dude had 5 AP classes
classes
under
under
his
his
belt. And I'm sitting here like, I would have taken 5 AP classes if they were free. Like, are you kidding me? And how
Yeah.
many kids, especially, I know one person in our school system, 4.0 GPA, or 4.3 GPA, but that's the highest she can get. She take honors classes. She's taken everything. She's never gotten below a 95, I don't think. But because of her family situation, she's never been able to take AP classes.
And that's the thing with
Really?
education.
Because of they have to pay for the
It's
exam.
hundreds of
Yeah.
dollars. Like $200 to take an AP
No,
class.
yeah, and it's like $100 just because the college board, that's what required for every AP
Right.
class. And then the teachers themselves have needs that adds onto that. Like some AP classes will run you $200 because it's like $100 for the test, then $100 for like classroom materials.
Right.
Yes.
Because you have to be specially trained
Mhm.
to teach AP, and a lot of if students do not take the AP exam, they just get honors credit.
Yeah.
It's the fact that they're holding students back, especially like lower income students.
Mhm.
It's so sad to see such bright minds be pushed down, especially if they wanted to go to college and they needed those AP classes to stand out,
Right.
like to get scholarships or get stuff.
Well, a lot of people are now moving from that trend of going to do AP and tell them to do dual enrollment because
Yeah,
that is guaranteed college credit
Mhm.
if they do dual enrollment. So a lot of people are saying, don't do AP, go dual enrollment.
Yeah, because like English, like 101 is like English 1000.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
The same everywhere.
Yeah.
I do. I will say a lot of the people I know in dual enrollment do come home crying every night because of the
honestly,
essays.
yeah, it's not that bad. It's just the workload. You just gotta it forces you to build work ethic, like swim or drown.
And time management.
Yes, very much.
I think every high schooler needs to know that.
Every single one. I
Every
hope all y'all are
single
listening.
I
Sitting at
I
home.
hope y'all 5 are listening to us right now.
Yeah, all 5 of y'all sitting by your shared radio in your home, like Little House on the Prairie. All y'all.
Right.
Oh, please. Is there a teacher that influences your teaching to be one way or you went against their way of teaching?
You did mention one teacher
Yes,
at the
Yolanda
very
Mrs.
end.
Martin, yes, you know, if she would listen to this, thank you. Because, you know, speaking of essays, I was a student in her 7th grade class, and she had us writing essays almost every week.
Oh,
And so, like, my classmates, mostly when we got to college, we all made A's in composition because we had to do it.
yeah.
You know, reading. I remember the first book we had to read in Mrs. Martin's class was The Hobbit. So reading The Hobbit as a 7th grader,
Oh, I can't.
you know, Wuthering Heights, Oliver Twist, Great Expectations, The
Good
Chosen.
classics.
These are some of the books that we read. I Know Why the Cage Bird Sings, Black Boy by Richard Wright. We read all those books in Mrs. Martin's class. But you had to have a teacher bestie. Teachers, you need a teacher bestie. You know, you have to have the teachers that you have a good rapport, but you must need a teacher bestie. And probably Gabby knows who's my teacher bestie.
Give me a second.
Pop quiz.
Guys, been 4 years. My
I know it's been 4 years. I just mentioned Mrs. Newsom.
Miss Newsom?
Yes, Miss Newsom is my teacher bestie.
Who's that?
She taught algebra with the glasses. You didn't have Miss Newsom. You had Miss Peters, right?
Yes.
Yeah, we had
Okay.
Miss Peters.
Miss
Shout out to
Newsom.
Miss Peters.
Yeah, Miss Peters.
shout out
Miss
to
Newsom,
Peters.
the other math teacher. That's my teacher bestie. And you got to have a teacher because we came in the same time. We came both at the same time, and we both came at the same time. We were at the same orientation session, and we just clicked from the orientation session.
So basically, you need somebody to stand
You
by you.
need somebody that you can bounce ideas upon, can tell you not to send that email when you're heated in a moment of crisis. Like, I want to send this email to admin. No, friend, do not send that email. Let me clean it up. How should I say this? You know, that's your springboard.
Yeah.
So every teacher needs a mentor teacher, an older teacher that's been doing it, and every teacher needs a teacher bestie. Somebody they will not tell their other secrets to anybody else, but they know you like the back of your hand.
Yeah. Community in total is so great.
That's going on the thesis.
Community.
We're gonna make y'all write an essay. That's also included. Free response at the end of the
This
quiz.
circles back to everything. Like, yeah. Community
Everything
action, paying teachers more. That's all community.
Yeah, everything in human life is about community, especially teaching. Teaching is like the brunt of humanity.
Yeah.
Unfolded to let you know, because you learn every single day.
It makes everything else possible.
Yes.
You wouldn't have doctors and lawyers and engineers and bankers and politicians if there were no teachers. Teaching makes everything possible.
Especially like even without the title of teacher, without going to school, your parents are your teachers.
Right.
Your community leaders are your teachers. Everything is a teacher if you can see it in that way.
Yeah.
It's just so great.
Yeah. You guys, life is beautiful.
Maybe we should actually pay our teachers.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Pay them.
Full circle.
We're gonna make that a big logo. Pay teachers.
Yeah, pay teachers.
Anyways, very last one.
Oh.
What change would you want to see come out from this podcast, and what do you actually think will happen?
I want school leaders. Explain that what I said before. The school leaders to know that teachers are the lifeblood of students. They're the lifeline.
Yes.
Not test scores.
Oh.
Teachers are the lifeline. Teachers are needed. Teachers must be compensated. Teachers must be respected. Teachers should not be micromanaged.
That part.
I'm gonna send this to them.
Teachers should not be micromanaged. They are the professionals in that classroom. They have been to school. They have studied it. They take that teacher's edition home. They are the professionals in their classrooms. Do not micromanage.
Especially if you haven't taught in what?
Ages.
Say 5 years.
1 billion
If you haven't
years.
taught within 5 years.
Or if you have not taught that teacher's subject.
Oh,
There's
that's
that
a big
too,
one.
because it's different.
It is because, like I had a principal at one time and I had an issue with him, and he was a coach and he taught PE and I was an English teacher, and it's like he was telling me to stop teaching certain things, and I said, well, that's not everything with English. They have to be prepared for the EOC. And the EOC is just not grammar. They have literary terms, they have this, they have that. And it's like, if you haven't taught my subject area, how can you tell me what to teach and what not to teach?
Yeah.
Exactly.
No micromanaging.
And what do you think is actually going to happen?
Hope you graduate. Number one.
Oh yay!
Hopefully, because you got to be at Bellevue. You got to walk the line at Bellevue. You got to graduate. Yeah. But I hope teachers get paid. Yeah. Teachers not micromanage. Yeah. And standardized testing goes away.
Most definitely.
We're gonna show this to the big boys up top.
The guys in charge.
We'll be like, guys, you need to listen to this. Some groundbreaking that every single episode is just the teacher going, teachers need to get paid more, guys. Yeah. Teachers need to be appreciated more. And that's it.
I think that's just gonna be the thesis of this project.
Yeah. It was supposed to be how kids have changed from COVID-19 and getting them to know it's changed to what?
It's changed a lot. Because with COVID-19, you saw how kids who did turn on their camera, how they lived.
Yeah.
You saw the parent walk in the midst of learning. Saw the little brother and sister. I remember a kid had 3 pit bulls.
Oh.
And came and we're in a session. They came with the 3 pit bulls in the background. I'm like, okay. I wasn't ready for the 3 pit bulls.
3?
Some little guess.
3 seems excessive. Yeah, some little guess.
They're not excessive. 4 is excessive. 3's alright.
Alright, okay, so yeah.
But thank you for being on the podcast.
I'm glad I participated. Thank you.